From miniature Lego sets hiding in plain sight to this lore-accurate Easter egg in Lego Harry Potter. These are some crazy Easter eggs buried deep inside Lego. Up first, did you know that you can find power stars in the Lego Mario question block set just like you can in the games? There are 10 you can find in total, and they're all used as play features with the Mario figure that comes with the set. But one of them is in a super weird place. Look at this picture of the set before it's finished. Can you see it? The star is right above this black beam, and it's super tiny. This is by far the hardest one to find in the whole set, but there are over 70 Easter eggs in the X-Men Mansion set, so let me show you some at a rapid-fire pace. This picture is based on a super famous cover from the Days of Future Past comic. 2 turrets are sitting in the front lawn, which was first seen in the Pride of the X-Men TV show. The fire exit is damaged by someone named Pyro, who funnily enough is a mutant with a fire power. The Nightcrawler has a poster which oddly looks like a circus poster, which makes a lot of sense since he was raised in a circus. And a golden pyramid can be found under the floor, which is a reference to the apocalypse made by En Sahab Noor, otherwise known as the first of the X-Men. Obviously, there are way more that I could talk about, but this next Easter egg is super weird. There's a rumor that you can't subscribe to my channel in 3 seconds or less. Time starts now. Go, go, go! Did you subscribe? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, the next Easter egg is in the Monkey Kid Megapolis City set. Remember how Lego used to make wooden toys way back in the day? Well, do you also remember that one of their first toys was this wooden duck? Well, take a look at this. A micro version of it is just chilling in the Megapolis City set. It doesn't end there though. There's also a 2x2 tile piece on the back of the duck. But what exactly is this? Well, Monkey Kid himself actually drew this picture in the TV show. So not only is this a 2-in-1 Easter egg, but it represents the bridge between the show and Lego. Lego is really good at bringing stuff over from shows or movies to their sets, and one with a super famous and accurate Easter egg is the Lego Harry Potter Gringotts Bank set. I talked about the Easter egg in Bellatrix Lestrange's vault in a different video, but this time I want to talk about the Sorcerer's Stone. In the Harry Potter universe, we find out that the stone is being kept in Vault 713. Only a very select group of people have this information, but if you go to that vault in the Lego set, you can find the stone sitting right there behind a wall. Now, Hagrid did end up moving it in the movies, but come on, this is a Lego set. We can give them some wiggle room. Another set with an Easter egg like this is the Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage set. Just like every other set in Lego's catalog, there are tons you can find, but the one I want to tell you about is actually hidden really well. In the movies, we find out that the only reason humans were able to bring dinosaurs back to life was by using frog DNA. So it makes a lot of sense why you're supposed to put a frog piece inside of the dinosaur. Just like that Pink Zane minifigure I talked about a few videos ago, if you don't have a ton of Jurassic Park knowledge, this would have went right over your head. Now, most Easter eggs can only be made once, but Lego actually reused the same Easter egg twice. Almost. In my first video on Lego Easter eggs, I showed you how Finn got the blood on his helmet censored in the Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens video game. Well, since then, another Lego video game has been released with the exact same movie in it. So how did Lego censor it this time? Well, instead of a green splotch, they had Finn find some cake on the battlefield, eat it, and get it all over his helmet. Pretty clever, Lego. However, it's not as clever as the reference you hid in the Lego Modular Police Station set. There seems to be a crack in the wall on the back of the station, which is a little weird, but I guess it's nothing out of the ordinary. However, there's a small cell on the other side of this crack with a bed and a toilet. And if you lift the bed up, not only is there a spoon hiding underneath it, but there's also a tunnel that leads to the crack on the outside. But the coolest part about this Easter egg isn't the crack, or the bed, or even the tunnel. It's the spoon. This is a direct reference to The Shawshank Redemption, one of the best prison movies ever made. Lego always does a super good job with Easter eggs like this, whether it be the X-Men Mansion, Gringotts Bank, or the police station. They're super good at it. And another great example is in the Lord of the Rings Shire set. One of the most well-known scenes in those movies is when Gandalf throws the letter in the fire and reveals the One Ring to Frodo. So, of course, Lego had to bring that over to the set. But wait a minute, where's the ring? This is just an envelope. Well, just turn the knob on the side, and voila! The ring reveals itself to you just like it did for Frodo in the fireplace. It's super sick, but this next Easter egg is for all my Spider-Man fans. The Ultimate Bridge Battle set has a lot more Easter eggs than the 1962 piece that I covered in a different video, and I think you're really gonna like them. For starters, there's a room at the bottom of the bridge sealed off by some webs, but if you look at the top of one of them, you'll find a camera conveniently pointing at the room. This is probably a reference to the fact that Peter Parker Parker was giving the Daily Bugle all of the pictures of Spider-Man for the newspaper. But it doesn't end here. One of the walls at the bottom of the bridge has Peter Parker's and Gwen Stacy's initials inside of a heart. Obviously, this is a reference to their love, but some fans think that this is a cryptic message telling us that this is the same bridge Gwen died on. That's just a conspiracy, but this next one was confirmed by the set designer. There's a sign for Route 25 on the bridge, but this highway is a lot more significant than you might know. It goes from the eastern tip of Long Island all the way down into Hell's Kitchen, which is exactly where Daredevil is from. A lot of stars had to align for this Easter egg to work, but like I said, the set designer confirmed it, so that's why the sign is even in here. Remember that wooden duck micro build from the Monkey Kid set? Well, you're gonna need to for this next Easter egg, because LEGO actually does this a lot. I showed you something similar in the Lion Knight's Castle set, but did you know that you can find 2 micro builds in the A-frame cabin set? The first one is the typewriter piece on the desk to reference the typewriter set, which honestly is a bit of a stretch. But this is absolutely a mini version of the LEGO Ideas Treehouse. There's no denying that. It's not often that LEGO includes a reference not everyone is sold on. But for a specific one in the Friends apartment set, if LEGO didn't tell us about it, I'm not sure how many people would have actually believed it. Monica's kitchen has a giant turkey sitting on the table, and since it can't fit on her head like it did in Season 5, Episode 8, it definitely isn't a reference to that. Luckily for us, LEGO listed a bunch of references for this set on their website, so we were able to find out that this turkey pays homage to all the Thanksgiving episodes Friends did over the years. But this isn't the only reference on Monica's kitchen table. There's also a brick-built version of Phoebe's dollhouse when it got lit on fire. It's by far one of the most well-known things to happen in Friends, so of course LEGO had to include it. Not every Easter egg has to be based on something else though. LEGO can get pretty creative with Easter eggs, and a good example of that is in the Minifigured tribute set. It has some pretty sick Easter eggs, like the blue wristband that represents the one you get when you tour the LEGO house. But I want to show you something on the inside of the set. Pirates are almost always sailing the high seas, so what's the one thing they'd probably be thinking about while they're out there? If you need a little help, the island on the inside of the minifigure's head might be able to give you the answer. This is what I meant by LEGO being creative. Clearly, they never forget even the most important details, and it's obvious when you see what they did in the Sesame Street set. This set is pretty small, so there isn't a whole lot they could have done here, and unfortunately, not every character from Sesame Street got a minifigure in this set. But like I said, LEGO never misses the details. So not only is there a painting of Abby Cadabby on one of the walls, but they even added Oscar the Grouch's worm Slimy right outside of his trash can. There's also a big tile piece for Biff and Sully's construction company, a picture of Zoe and Rosita right next to Elmo's bed, and Big Bird's drawing of Mr. Hooper. Basically, the whole gang is here, which is especially good since this set was obviously made for kids. Moving on from that though, there's actually a really cool Easter egg in the mini Disney Castle set. Fun fact, the Disney Castle is actually the same one used in Cinderella, so technically this is a set about Cinderella's castle. I'm sure the Disney superfans already knew that, but LEGO lets you know this fact in a super subtle way. If you take the top off of the central walkway, you'll find a tile piece of her glass slippers hiding on the inside. There's also a tile piece of the castle from what looks to be the intro to Everything Disney, which is a really nice touch. Obviously, these Easter eggs are pretty hard to find, but you know what set has them front and center? The Krusty Burger from The Simpsons, which is pretty crazy since this set literally just came out. The first few are on the back of the store. There's the obvious graffiti tag from Bart, but then there's also a sticker promoting Sideshow Bob's campaign for mayor. So of course LEGO had to accompany this with a rake. Then there's a missing poster for the Krusty Burglar, which of course is referencing the scene where a random kid in the crowd screams, "Stop! Stop! He's already dead." But the best one by far is at the grease trap. In Season 10, Homer starts a business selling grease, and the grease he was selling came straight from the Krusty Burger. He used a shovel to load the grease into Marge's car, which unfortunately isn't in this set, but the reference still holds true. Now for this next one, I want to take you to the Monkey Kid City of Lanterns set. Since this is a city, you already know there are tons of Easter eggs here, but the one I want to show you is actually really hard to spot. Because the city is so big, there's an information center that people can use to find their way around. And I know it sounds crazy, but the Easter egg is actually hiding right here in plain sight. See this guy on the tile piece with an eye on his head? Well, he's actually the Infomaniac from the Lego Island video game. This is one of the most subtle references I've seen in Lego, so if you knew who this guy was, give yourself a pat on the back. Anyways, the last Easter eggs I want to show you are in the Sanctum Sanctorum set. Say that 5 times fast. Since this is a Marvel set, of course you're gonna have your pictures of Doctor Strange and ads to join the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But not only does this set have a crazy play function, but it also has a super sick Easter egg similar to the Route 25 one in the Bridge Battle set. Right next to the ad for S.H.I.E.L.D., there's a giant portal that only experienced sorcerers can access. Once inside, you'll find some of Strange's most powerful artifacts, like the Book of Cagliostro, guarded by golden chains and the Time Stone. But the Easter egg is way cooler than this. At the top of the building, there's an ad for Captain America's exhibit at the Brixtonian Museum. Now, this may seem like nothing, but let me tell you why it's so cool. First of all, this is a direct reference to this exact exhibit in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier movie. But best of all, the Sanctum Sanctorum is in New York City, the same place the Smithsonian Museum is in real life. See what I mean? Just like Route 25, a lot of things had to line up for LEGO to be able to put this Easter egg in this set. But what was your favorite Easter egg in this video? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.